Everyone wants to know, how did the snow go? It went bad. Fuck the snow. That's all I have to say. I quit. I literally, unlike the New York Giants, who were who were Tom Cruising it, making all the right moves, I quit the snow. You won. Snow 1, Tim 0. I'm done. I'm going to Florida. I'm going back to Miami. I'm abandoning the fucking house. And I'm just leaving tonight. I'm done. But on a happy note, this is Tim, this New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue, brought to you by, of course, the mighty FanDuel. If you watched or listened, I should rephrase that, to the podcast, which was a which was a Believe exclusive on the Believe Network only, or any place the podcast can be found, with David Behrman from Betting with Behrman, you might have won some cash. You might have won some cashish if you watch that show, because it was a good one. Oh, Coach Dave says, I'm not shoveling any more damn snow. Tim is live. Thank you, Dave. Coach Dave. Listen, I'm not shoveling any snow. I fucking quit. I'm done. I was out. I was back out again this morning trying to shovel this shit. We got to talk about the New York Football Giants and some of their moves they made. We got ourselves a new defensive coordinator. We got ourselves a new coaching guru for that special teams. I remember Chris Horton back in the day when he was in Giants training camp. I remember him getting cut. I think it was the last cut of the. I think it was the last cut at all of it. I remember that. I remember all that shit. But we went out and got the object of our affection from Dennard Wilson from a couple years ago. If anyone remembers, Dennard turned us down and took the job over with the Tennessee Titans. How bad of an organization were we that Dennard Wilson, I'm sorry, why do I keep calling Hopkins? Dennard Wilson. I'm thinking of Dennard Hopkins. I'm thinking of the Eagle. But Dennard Wilson turned us down 2 years ago. Turned us down and said, no, I don't want to go to the Mecca. I don't want to be part of Brian Dable's staff. I want no part of fucking Joe Shane. I'm going to go take the job in Tennessee as my first stint ever as a defensive coordinator. I'm going to tell you this. I was not for Hopkins. Why do I keep calling him Hopkins? Wilson, I'm sorry. I was not for Wilson coming here. Initially, 2 years ago, I was not. Because I did not want another first-time DC coming in. Now, listen, this guy has been coaching for a little bit. Wilson began his coaching career back with the, I guess then it was the St. Louis Rams, but then they went to the Los Angeles Rams under Jeff Fisher. He was promoted to the defensive backfield coach back in 15 to 16 with the Rams. You got to remember, he was also with the Jets for 4 seasons as their defensive back coach from 17 to 20. I love it because they also added with the venerable passing game coordinator duties, which was basically nothing. It was basically giving you more of a title. Some people give him a lot of credit for the success of Jamal Adams with the Pro Bowls and the All Pros. He moved on to that wretched place where, honestly, like I said, the link sucks so bad you can't even get a fucking good cheesesteak in the link, which is not too far from Geno's and Pat's. He became the defensive back coach for the Eagles in 21, named the venerable passing game coordinator again in 22 to 23. I think the Eagles had the number 1 passing defense and number 2 total defense back in that season. He was a guy that was, he was a guy that's been successful every one at once. You got to remember, 2022 to 2003, he left the Eagles, went home, named the defensive back coach for the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, we saw what Kyle Hamilton did and become the Pro Bowler and All-Pro with the Ravens. The Ravens finished regular season at that point in time with the Triple Crown, what they refer to in the NFL, but the first team in history to lead the league in points allowed at 16, sacks, and takeaways. So with that crescendo in his career, he went over to the Titans. And well, the Tennessee Titans are just the Tennessee Titans. I don't blame him for the Titans. I really don't. Because of the fact that when you have garbage to work, I mean, I'm not going to call the Titans garbage because they do have some players, but when you have, I mean, you have Jeffrey Simmons over there. You had the linebacker, what's his name, Gray, and the other rookie, Sweat. So they ran a base 3-4, but I also think that it was it was something more that they had to do. Now, if you take a look at some of their defensive liabilities, I ranked 31st in opponents' completion percentage at 68.87, which is not going to be a good sign for the likes of Drew Phillips. They were 32nd in opponents per yards per pass allowed, 8.2. But like I said, I don't fault Dennard Wilson for any of that, because like I said, it's the talent that the kid had. It's not this thing that you look at it and say, oh, you know what, he's gonna suck. I think he's a good hire. I think he, you know, like we played the clip before, you know, with Carl Banks. He's a Harbaugh guy, and that's what we want. We want a Harbaugh guy. We want a guy that John feels comfortable with. You know, we only had that one season in Baltimore, but evidently he feels comfortable with him. He sees something in him, and I'm going to tell you this about Dennard Wilson, and this was so telling. Do you like Jeff Fisher? No, I do not like Jeff Fisher. I think he was an overrated head coach, big time. And some of the things that he did were questionable at best. But one of the things I like about Dennard Wilson right off the bat, is the fact that when he initially went to the Titans, and I remember this because we talked about this, and he was running his first training camp, and they interviewed some of the Titan players. Now Dennard Wilson is a player's coach, is a player's guy, and they interviewed a bunch of players, and the players were like, "We love this guy." And they're like, "Well, why do you love him?" They're like, "Because if we're in practice and we do something wrong, he makes us fix it. We fix it. We work on it. We work on the issue. We work on fixing what was done wrong." And the interviewer asked, "Well, what do you mean by that?" He goes, "Well," and this was a player. He goes, "Well, in the previous regime, which was Shane Bowen, when we did something wrong and it didn't work, we didn't do it again. We just stopped doing that." They're like, with Dennard Wilson, we fix stuff. We fixed it. And that to me wrapped up Shane Bowen in a nutshell. Shane Bowen, his players told us, and this is why I cringed when we hired Shane Bowen for a lot of reasons, but I cringed when I heard his own former players say, "Listen, if we did something wrong in the secondary, we didn't fix it. We just stopped doing it. And Dennard Wilson made us fix it. We worked on it. We worked on getting better at it." And that's what this team needs. They need someone to help this team, to help this defense, especially this defensive backfield. Someone needs to help teach them how to do things right. Deonte Banks, great example. Deonte Banks, first season, stellar season. I'm not going to say stellar, but really good season. You saw the potential. He ran stride for stride with wide receivers. He had fluid. You got to use the old venerable, term that the coaches like. He was very fluid in the hips. He turned back to the ball. He was aggressive, but not overly aggressive. He was the perfect man-to-man guy as a rookie. And then, of course, we get rid of Wink. And we bring in Shane Bowen, who has never been known for coaching up his secondaries, and he falls off the fucking planet. Now, I'm not telling you that Banks is going to come back in and be a superstar, but I'm telling you this. I'm not getting rid of Banks, because there's a chance, there's an opportunity that this guy that has all the talent in the world, with the proper coaching again, why is that cable off? With the proper coaching again, maybe he can resurrect his career. And I love that interview Joe Shane did with Tiki Barber and the Fan, and he's like, they're talking about Deonte Banks, and he goes, "Well, Deonte Banks is now kick returner as well. So we like guys on the roster that could do a lot of different things." It's like, oh, Joe, shut the fuck up. Just don't go away, man. Just go away. I mean, Joe, just shut the fuck up. But I do think he can help Banks. Banks, to me, has got all the talent in the world. It's just the fact that I think it's been cocooned. Is Banks open? I don't know, because they're closed here. I think that was pretty fun, Joe. That was pretty fun. That actually made me laugh internally. I'm laughing internally. I really am. I'm not being facetious. That was kind of funny. Damn it, Joe, you made me lose my fucking train of thought. So he's going to fix the secondary. I think if anything, you've seen progressive improvements as his role as a defensive backfield coach for years. So you know this guy knows how to work with secondaries. And our secondary needs all the help in the world. Drew Phillips to me should be a project. I'm only saying that because of the fact that while Drew Phillips is proficient at making tackles, his pass defense as a corner is atrocious. We've said it before. The guy gave up 72% completion percentage, 575 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10.8 yards of completion, and the yak was just beyond belief. Talked about it. And the biggest issue with Drew Phillips is kind of the same thing with Banks. Phillips doesn't know how to play corner. I should rephrase. I think Banks knows how to play corner. I think he's kind of lost his way. I think he's kind of lost. I don't know if he's lost. The worst thing to say about any type of player is that you've lost the passion for the sport. Now, I'm not saying Banks has lost the passion for the sport, but I am going to say, we watched him dog it. We watched it. We watched him make some stupid boneheaded plays. For some reason, all of a sudden, he doesn't know how to turn around. He doesn't know how to turn his head. I literally thought I think he's had a neck injury the last 2 years, because I've never seen a corner not be able to turn his head. That's your one job, especially if you're running stride for stride. First thing they teach you is keep your hands off the wide receiver, turn your head, look back for the ball, because if you don't, that's usually going to be called pass interference. But Drew Phillips, to me, needs to he's got the Aaron Robinson complex. Aaron Robinson, of course, was that corner, I believe, out of Texas we drafted. He had that game against the Jets where he made all these he tackled everybody. Fucking tackling machine. And I was sitting next to James Williams, and James is like, oh, yeah, he's making all these tackles. I look at James and go, problem is, he's allowing the completion every time he makes the tackle. And that's kind of what Drew Phillips has. He can make the tackles, but your job as a corner is to prevent people from making tackles. I don't need you to be Darrelle Revis. I don't need you to be Deion Sanders. I don't need you to be one of those guys, but I just need you to be a competent corner. And I think it's smart to the point that if John Harbaugh, of course, he's looking at the roster, he's seeing what he has on the roster in regards to talent. And he's saying, okay, these are the guys I have under contract. I don't have Cordell Flott under contract, but these are the guys I have under contract. Can I make the guys that I have better? Can I bring in a coach that's going to make my defensive secondary better? I'm curious to see how he works with Paulson Adebo, because I think I don't know if Paulson Adebo has lost his way, or if Paulson Adebo just has not recovered from the surgery, which I kept telling people, you don't give this guy $54 million, 36 guaranteed, because he may take more than a year to recover from his type of injury. And some players have never recovered from that injury. But I'm curious to see what he can get out of Paulson Adebo. I am curious to see what he can get out of Holland, because Holland has just been bad for 2 years. And like I said, I'm curious to see how he works with Drew Phillips. And I'm not going to say anything about Cordell Flott, because Cordell Flott right now is not on this team. I'm not, the other player that I would love to see, and I'm not going to say anything about Dane Belton, because Dane Belton should be shot out of the fucking clown cannon into the East River. And Tyler Nubin, when we drafted him, I kept saying the same thing. Everyone's like, well, he's the best safety in the draft. Well, when you're the best piece of shit in a bag of garbage, it doesn't mean you're good. It doesn't mean I want it. And Tyler Nubin for 2 years, just one rule. And Tyler Nubin went to the Dane Belton school. There's one rule as a safety. First thing they teach you in Pop Warner, never let anyone get behind you. And I've said this before about Tyler Nubin. I want to buy the motherfucker a protractor, because he doesn't understand angles. I still think he should be a quasi in the box safety, like a Logan Ryan, like a Peppers was under Patrick Graham, where they played like 75% of their snaps or 80% of their snaps in the box, linebacker / safety. I think that would fit more of Tyler Nubin's role. And I think it also, if we go towards it, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if Dennard Wilson's going to go run a base 3-4 like he did kind of in Tennessee. In Tennessee, at times, they had a basic defense. I don't know what he's going to do yet because he's got to come in, take a look at the talent. But this is a guy that if you want to try to fix Paulson Adebo, Deonte Banks, Drew Phillips, and Tyler Nubin, if you think those guys can be part of your core, you brought in the right person to offer the tutelage in reference to being good because of what he has done in Dennard Wilson for the entirety of his career. Get him in the box and draft Caleb Downs. Can't take Caleb. We've talked about this, LeBron. I can't take Caleb Downs at 5. They're in the annals of football. I even heard this from Rich McKay. You don't, in the top 10, you don't take a tight end, you don't take a defensive tackle, and you don't take a safety. Because in regards to positional value, there is no positional value for those players. Now listen, there's always exceptions to the rule. And the last safety that was taken in the top 5 or top 10 was Jamal Adams. But there is a reason. Dr. Intel, I've already said this. We'll get to that. Yes, I know it's not sexy. And I know fans, I mean, if Reese isn't, if the linebacker Reese is not there, and I don't think Reese is going to get past the Cardinals, but if Reese is not there, I would fucking take Reese. I'm not going to take one of these quasi edges. I got 3 of those. Not taking the quasi edge. I would take Reese, but if he's not there, like I said, I like Fano out of Utah. I like the big tackle out of Miami. Protect your young quarterback because you're a young quarterback, and we're going to get in this. I'm not going to get into it, but we're going to get into something about Jackson Dart. We're going to have a whole big thing about Jackson Dart, and I'm going to be bringing in a former NFL quarterback to talk about this, but we're going to have a whole big thing about Jackson Dart. Buenos dias, Tim. 15 minutes late to the show. What did I miss? 15 minutes late means you're 15 minutes early. I was just talking about how I like the signings. How it makes, like I said, I didn't like the signing. I wouldn't have liked it 2 years ago because the fact that I did not want to bring in a learning on the job coordinator when we already had a learning on the job coach. But I do think the Giants were smart in bringing in Dennard Wilson. And like I said, if you would have said this to me 2 years ago, I wouldn't have liked the signing. I know Giant fans, certain Giant segment of Giant fans and content creators were creaming in their shorts because they thought he was going to be this great coordinator. Well, it didn't work out well in Tennessee. And like I said, I don't fault him for having it not work out in Tennessee because of the fact that that was just a bad situation to be in. But I am glad he got he got 2 years under his belt in regards to becoming, a good coordinator. And I do think, like I said, if you like the way he plays, not the way he plays, if you like the way he coaches, and the players love him. Players in Tennessee love him. Like I said, I told the story. I've told the story before. Hey, listen, you know what? This is a guy that first week of training camp, they were interviewing his players, and his players loved him and said, listen, because when we do something wrong in the defensive secondary or anywhere, we practice it and do it again and get it right. And the guy looked at the camera and said, the problem was with the last coordinator, if we did something wrong, we didn't work on it. We just stopped doing it. And I remember sitting here going, oh, fuck, and I remember because I was one of the few guys, because I guess there was only a few people that knows this, but I was like, that's fucking Shane Bowen, man. He's talking about Shane Bowen. We also want to talk about Chris Horton. We want to talk about Chris Horton. Here's a who. This is another guy. Like I said, I remember Chris Horton in 2012. Was it 2012? He was a Giants. He was on the. He got cut. The last cut by Tom Coughlin in 12. I actually remember him in training camp because we always went to upstate New York. I've been going to training camps since '76. So I used to spend a week when they were up towards Albany in Troy, New York. And because I know people don't like Troy, New York, but I like they had a residence stay in there, which I loved. So we always were there. This is a guy that, he played for a couple of years over Washington. He had a cup of coffee on the Giants. He was the assistant special teams coach back in 14 through 18. So he's another, what do we say about it? Harbaugh guy. He was a special teams coordinator from 19 to 2025, also with the Ravens. And now he's coming over. You're going to pilfer the staff a little bit. He is going to come over and work in the same capacity, but he's actually labeled as assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. So, I mean, this is a guy that knows football, knows the coach. There is going to be nothing shocking about this guy coming in. I mean, it's one of those things. And if you take a look at the overall impact of their special teams, even last year, they performed consistently through 2025. And one of the things that I liked about I will tell you this: the Ravens at times have, like anyone else, has breakdowns, but they have a reputation for having solid special teams. They have a reputation for being reliable. I mean, having this reliability on their special teams, having this ability to, I don't know, this is crazy. This is quasi nuts, but I'm going to say it. They have an ability to tackle. Oh, I know. Why do we want to tackle? But they have the ability to tackle. Now, there's more to special teams than just tackling. You're also looking at kick returns and punt returns. And I don't even think the Ravens were in the top 25 in reference to that. But like I said, a lot of that has to do with the personnel that you have. And a lot of this is going to have to do with the coaching. And that's it. And this is why I am ecstatic to see what Harbaugh does in regards to his offensive coordinator. There is rumors and speculations about certain offensive coordinators that he does want to bring in. But I'm curious about this. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. We got 114 people watching on YouTube, so make sure you hit the like button. We got 24 likes. But I am very curious to see what he does with his offense coordinator position. He's filled, I mean, I love it because certain people are like, well, he's filled two of the big three. I don't count, I mean, special teams is important, but I don't sit there and count special teams as one of the big roles. It is an important role, and the Giants have gotten fucked over the years. He hasn't hired Todd Monken yet. Zach, he has not hired Todd Monken yet, unless some news has come down that I don't know about. Because Todd Monken was also interviewing with another organization. I would like Todd Monken. I think that I don't know if Todd Monken is perfect for Dart. You got too many people that have this misconception. I'm not saying you, Dr. Intel. I'm not saying you. But you have too many people have this misconception. Well, he worked with Lamar Jackson. Look at what he did to Lamar Jackson. He's going to do the same thing. I mean, he's going to do the same thing with Jackson Dart. That don't really work that way. Lamar Jackson and Jackson Dart are officially two different players, two different styles. You can try to make parallels and comparisons, but when you actually take a look at their ability, it's two different players. Now, what I do enjoy is the fact that Harbaugh has worked with multiple different quarterbacks. So, I mean, I am very curious to see where we hire that. But Joe says, no more hibernating name guys. We need toughness. That's what I want to see. You're right. I want to see some toughness. And the good news is you have a head coach in Harbaugh that players love. Now, towards the end of his career in Baltimore, like anything else, like Andy Reid in Philadelphia, like Tom Landry in Dallas, Shula in Miami, you run a course with a team, Tomlin in Pittsburgh, you run Harbaugh in Baltimore, you run a course with a team where people stop listening to you. And I think in some ways that's what kind of happened with Harbaugh. But Harbaugh was I was actually kind of shocked that Harbaugh didn't take a year off after everything he kind of went through in Baltimore. I'm happy he didn't. Thank God. I'm glad. Thank God I didn't fucking take a year off, because Lord knows we'd be sitting here with Kevin Stefanski. And I wouldn't be here February 12th, and I'd be vomiting somewhere outside in the backyard. But you could tell it was me because you could track it in the snow. I hate fucking snow, man. My hands hurt. Everything hurts. We got to shovel 4 times yesterday. And then the last time we were shoveling at 9:30 at night. And then I had to go out and shovel again at 7 this morning. And then everything's frozen over. And then and I love it because the high today is going to be 18. The low is going to be 8. I was like, well, that's definitely shorts weather. But players love playing for Harbaugh. Players love playing for Dennard Wilson. Chris Horton is an excellent value as a special teams coach and assistant head coach. People forget. People are not giving him his due that he's also assistant head coach, because to me, anytime you're a special teams coordinator and they slap the assistant head coach label on you, I'm not looking at you, Joe Judge, it's because they're trying to get you a head coaching job. And they're trying to build your resume to get you a head coaching job. So I'm kind of curious to see, like I said, I think if we look at these two hires from an outside perspective, if we look at these two hires from, like I always said, this channel, and this is what pisses a lot of people off, this channel isn't about just go raw, everything's fucking great. This channel is about giving you the actual perspective, football perspective of the New York Football Giants. I am a huge fan. I've been a fan since 76, but I take an outward look on this team and I look inward to give you the best information that I can give you. And I can tell you this, Chris Horton, home run for the Harbaugh. Dennard Wilson, 2 years ago, I've said it before, I would have hated this hire. I would have been like, and I kept telling people, I don't want this guy because I don't want another. I already had a rookie OC at that. I was like, 2 years in from the rookie OC. I didn't need another rookie DC, but now Dennard Wilson has 2 years of experience under his belt in Tennessee. He is a guy that, like I said, I cannot sit there and tell you and blame you and blame him for the failures. And we went over the defensive back failures with the Titans, but the Titans have a lack of talent. Now, why the Giants don't have this plethora of talent, I think they have talented players who have different strengths that a guy like Dennard Wilson can come in with his experience, with his venerable experience as a defensive backs coach, and work with these guys, not only as a defensive coordinator, but as a defensive backs coach, and probably and potentially fix the secondary. I think that's kind of what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. So when Harbaugh then comes back and tells me, I hired X as my OC, I hope it's a hire, and Todd Monken to me is a good hire, would be a good hire. I hope it's a hire that they can come in and take a look at the pieces of the offense and make a decision and say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want my quarterback to be. This is how I want my running game to be. Now, you have to remember, everyone, I think, and I don't think it's a shock to anyone, our offense, I believe, is well behind our defense. Because if you look at it, you're probably getting rid of Devin Singletary. Tyrone Tracy, to me, is not a bell cow back. You have to wait and see what Cam's got to do, comes back and does. You're stuck at least one more season with Darius Slayton. Isaiah Hodgkins, as everyone has loves him, but he couldn't even crack the field on the Pittsburgh Steelers team. Gunner to me is a special teamers, which I think will be good over with Chris Horton. Theo Johnson, Lord knows what you're going to do with Johnson. Then the offensive line is going to be in flux, and you still have to be concerned about the injuries of Andrew Thomas. This is why we've talked about this before. Yes, I understand that going out and getting a center in Tyler Lindenbaum is not sexy. That's another thing that's not sexy for the Giants in free agency, because the Giants right now only have $11.5 million actually I think it's $9.5 million now, but they can probably come up another $40-50 million. But that'll still put them mid-level in reference to cap space, because you have 3 teams right off the bat without any changes that have over $100 million. And one of them is going to be the Chargers. And the Chargers would love to get someone like Tyler Linderbaum. But my theory is that, yeah, and you know what? People are going to say, well, Linderbaum, you know what? He's not a good pass blocker. Well, that's not true anymore. When he first came into the league, I loved Tyler Linderbaum at Iowa when he first came into the league. I wanted the Giants to draft him. And everyone knows I hate undersized centers. He's not undersized in height, but he's undersized in weight. I hate undersized centers. But he is a guy that understood, if you looked at his film in Iowa, he understood leverage. He understood how to move the pile. He understood these things. And people will be like, well, he's terrible at pass blocking. Well, that's not true anymore. This is a 3-time Pro Bowler. This is a guy that if you follow the venerable Pro Football Focus, you know, we hate Pro Football Focus here, but his pass blocking grade of Pro Football Focus when he first came in the league was 54. It's now between 87 and 89. That shows you an improvement. The only reason that the Ravens didn't pick up his 5th-year option was because they were going to have to pay because he's been so successful. They were going to have to pay him $25.9 million. Because what sucks about the 5th-year option on a rookie deal, positionally, especially on the offensive line, they don't take the average of just the center. They take the average salary of everyone on the offensive line and then give you that number, and that number would have been $25.7 million. Now, listen, you probably may have to still pay him $15-20 million, but you can then space it out. You can then do the bonuses. You could do all this other stuff to make it work. But you bring in Tyler Linderbaum, you sit there and you have Andrew Thomas. You go out and get the big kid from Miami or Fano out of Utah. You decide what you're going to do with Runyon. You decide if Elmore Fudd is just going to be that renegade that he's been, because he only came to the people forget if you watch Hard Knocks, he only came to the Giants because we gave him $3 million more than Arizona. He was already going to Arizona. You have to wait and see what Marcus Bowe is going to be. So like I said, you have a dearth in the skill position outside of Malik Neighbors, and he's coming off an injury. So the offensive coordinator position is going to be paramount for Coach Harbaugh. But I'm giving Coach Harbaugh all the carte blanche. He nailed it.
That's what she said.
On special teams, he's nailed it.
That's what she said.
In regards to his defensive coordinator, Billy Price. I don't want Billy Price. Why would you bring up Billy Price and make me upset? No, JMS cannot play right guard. JMS should be playing left out. And I love JMS. I didn't want to draft him. I wanted Joe Tippmann. Everybody knows that. And I love JMS because, like I said, JMS and we're related. Look at that. It's two jokers in one pod. Me and JMS. That's my cousin. That's my nephew. So me and JMS, we're bros. I just don't understand how JMS does not understand leverage. He's a former wrestler. His first year in the league, he gave up the most holding penalties for a center. His second year in the league, he gave up the most sacks in the center position, and he played better this year, but not enough for me to keep him as my starting center, especially with a rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback. And wouldn't you want a venerable center for Jackson Dart? That's what I always tell people. Wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you want a center that can help with the line adjustments, help call out the mic, do all these things with your second-year quarterback? I would think that I think Giant fans would be ecstatic if we could get this guy just to help Jackson Dart on his own. We got 35 likes. Make sure you hit the like buttons, guys. Please hit the like, because if you hit the like, channel grows, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to grow the channel now. Ugh. Fucking work. I don't need to work. Why do I got to always work? Tired. Retired people aren't supposed to work. Let me get to some of the chat here. I've been ignoring it a little bit, but let's get to some of these questions right here. Coach G, we already got this. I'm not shoveling snow anymore. Damn it. Tim is live. Here, Johnny Wishbone. Good. I got to find Johnny Wishbone. Where is Johnny Wishbone? I did make the I ate the Uncrustable yesterday. I've also made the resolution that if I was staying, that I was going to label the soundboard. And I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word. I ate the...
I'm Johnny Wishbone, psychic extraordinaire. If you need me, just think Johnny Wishbone and I come running. Lots and biddles. It's like kibbles and bits, but different. Excuse me. Sorry to bother you.
So we're going to make sure we get the soundboard label before the draft. What's up, Big Harsh, for real? Northeast Connecticut got toofy. Big Mike, I was thinking about you. I saw Coach Calipari. I was thinking about you. We'll talk. I'll text you about that later. Mr. Perry says the pieces are slowly to be put into place. That's it, though. And I hope, this is my hope for the 2026 season. I hope the Giants make the playoffs. That's my hope every year. Hope they get a home playoff game because as a season ticket holder, I'd like to go to one before I die. But my hope is that Giant fans and content creators and pundits allow Harbaugh to do what he needs to do. Because there are going to be a lot of tough decisions. Not really tough football decisions. No, they're not really tough football decisions that are going to be made that certain segments of the fan base are just not going to be happy with. And it's going to be certain players that we're not going to resign, that we're going to move on from. And we're truly going to see if Coach Harbaugh has the last say, and which I think he does. But there is going to be a segment of fans that are going to be kind of upset about some of these players that we're going to get rid of and we're going to move on from. But you got to remember this, guys. We've had 13 wins in 3 years. Why should anyone stay? I'm going to say that again. You had 13 wins in 3 years. You had 6, 3, and 4. Why would anyone stay? Why would anyone outside of Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas, Jackson Dart be able to stay on this 53-man roster? And I think that's what we just got to give him time. I got one half of the Super Bowl right. Seahawks about to smack the Patriots. Jay Sports Car says, Tim, what do you think? I already said I don't like him. Miss Perry says Ravens lead the league in takeaways. West 31st. Joe says Dennard Wilson says fuck no when he wanted him before, as or is this a different? No. You were 100% right. Dennard Wilson said they offered him the DC job. They offered him the DC job with Brian Dable and Joe Shane, and Dennard Wilson looked at it and said, "Nah, I'm going to the Titans." How bad is that? Let's see here. Right about Dable's get out of here, though. Didn't Wilson say, yeah, we already got to that one. Slider says, Tim, didn't we try hiring Dennard Wilson? Yep, that was 2 years ago. Let's see here. Nobody remembers or wanted to work for a guy about this. RWB says, good morning, Tim, and everyone in the chat. I've grown to hate snow almost as much as I hate cold cutlets DeVito. Time to shovel. Have a great day. You know what kills me? Either Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito are walking off with a Super Bowl ring. That kills me. Drew Lock, who fucked us on that nice sunny winter day versus the Indianapolis Colts, which I sold my tickets and I ended up still going to the game. And Tommy DeVito, who fucked us also with those garbage wins, one of them is going to get a Super Bowl ring. Also,
King of the almost sack,
who we traded because we didn't have salary cap space to bring in a quarterback, could potentially get a ring. Julian Love could potentially get a ring. And thank God Denver didn't make it, because I don't think I could have handled Evan Ingram in the Super Bowl. I don't think I could have handled that. Let's see here. Jay Ferry says, last time I saw Jeff Fisher, he was a special guest on a regional show, MMA show. Yeah, it's probably true. The undisputed heavyweight champ says, whoa, fire Tim McDaniel. Now, whoa. No, we're not going to fire him. Let's see here. Banks is open. We got the Banks is open. What's up, Big Greg? Let's see here. LeBron says Drew Phillips is a slot corner, so I mean you really can't make much more than that. Just don't be terrible at it all the time. Well, here's the problem. If you bring back Cordell Flott Flott's a slot corner as well. Yeah, they played him on the outside at necessity, but Cordell Flott's best position is slot corner. I remember in the movie The Christmas Story, when the dads, when they traded, when the Sox traded Bulldog Schottner, whatever his name is, utility infielder, and he looks at it and his wife says, like, we got a whole goddamn team of utility infielders. we have a whole defensive backfield full of slot corners. And that's why you hope that the resurrection of Banks and Paulson Adebo occur with Dennard Wilson, who has the pedigree of turning secondaries around. And I think that's what I think. Harbaugh, of course, he only spent 1 year with Harbaugh, but one season. So I think though that you take a look at what he's done with with teams like the Jets. We've talked about this before. You take a look at what he's done with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was with the Jets from what was with the Jets from 17 to 20. Take a look at what he did with the Rams back in 15 and 16. I mean, this is a guy, and also I love the fact that I believe was it I don't know. I don't remember. Was he? No, that's not. No, I think it was it Chris Horton that started off as a scout? I can't remember which. But this is a guy in Dennard Wilson that the players love playing for him. He's got success everywhere he has gone in reference to revamping secondaries. And I think he's the perfect fit for this giant organization. Dane Belton School of Tackling. Yeah, there is no Dane Belton School of Tackling. Dane Belton School of Tackling. Oh, wait, we lost him. Let's see. Get on the. Like I said, I can't take Caleb Downs. I mean, you can take Caleb Downs, but if I take Caleb Downs, I have to watch this. I got to trade down for Downs. And it's not that I don't think that Caleb Downs would be a good NFL player. We've just talked about this, and we've talked about this a million times before. It is positional value. And the three positions you never take, we talked about it earlier, three positions you never take in the top 10 is going to be defensive tackle, safety, and tight end. Because positional value is not there for that. And the last safety to be taken in the top 10 was Jamal Adams. So would the Jets at 2 take Caleb Downs? You never know. They might, but Caleb Downs is not going to turn around the Jets. The Jets got fucked when Dante Moore went back to school. Dante Moore pulled a Dennard Wilson and said, "No, I'm not going to New York." And he's going to wait a year. In my, you know what my mind is with Dennard Wilson? What I really also like about him, it's he got 2 years of on-the-job training someplace else. He went someplace else to get 2 years of on-the-job training. And now he's coming here with 2 years of experience, with the ability to have, we know he can work with Harbaugh. He's been in the division also, like I said, when he was with Philadelphia. So this is a guy that has turned secondaries around, has worked with players. Players love him. He's a young guy. You have a young team. You're going to have a young defense. Perfect fit. But I'm not bringing in Caleb Downs at 5. It doesn't make sense. Like I said, if you can get Reese at 5, I would get Reese at 5. I personally like Fano out of Utah. And like I said, it's not sexy, but you need to qualify your picks in regards to what you have on the roster in reference to your quarterback position. Now, that's why some people are going to say, well, then you got to go Carnell Tate. I cannot keep spending my first round picks on wide receivers. We've learned our lesson, hopefully, with certain amount of wide receivers. And then if I take Carnell Lake, I'm getting rid of Wandale Robinson. Did anyone notice? We talked about this in the stream yesterday. After Malik Neighbors went down, this is why re-signing Wandale is a cautionary tale. After Malik Neighbors went down, you would assume that Wandale Robinson's production would have gone up. You would have gone by the assumption that, oh, our star wide receiver is down in week 5. Wandale Robinson should start producing more. Well, 30 yards, 84 yards, 48 yards, 46 yards, 62 yards, 36 yards. Then he finally had the big game against Detroit for 156, 34, 54, 19. No, his production actually went down after Neighbors went. And I'm going to keep telling you this. Yeah, he had 1,000 yards, but 400 of them came in 3 games. He didn't play in 17 games. He played in 16 games. But you have to look at it. 400 of his yards came in 3 games. The other 600 came in the other 13, which is 40. He averages 48 yards a game. And 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. Yeah, Wando. He's not. And we had on Sunday a gentleman that loves Wandale Robinson, and I actually broke down who he would take. Would he take Wandale Robinson or over X certain slot wide receivers? And he took all the other slots over Wandale Robinson. So, like I said, that's one of these players, Wandale Robinson. I think that is going to be a tough decision, not for the new Giant regime to make, but for the Giant fan base to understand if they move on and do not overpay Wandale Robinson. And like I said, if they bring him back, I'm still going to, like I said, this for the next 2 years, you have to trust Coach Harbaugh. I'm going to trust Coach Harbaugh the next 2 years. You know, so I may disagree with some of the things that he does. I may say that out loud like I normally do, but I'm still going to be in alignment with his philosophy because honestly, we don't know what his philosophy is yet. I'm down with Downs, probably elite player, going to be at 5. Draft an offensive lineman. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm a little skeptical too about these high safeties have panned out, so I don't know. It's a known fact. The last safety taken in the top 10 was Jamal Adams. Someone tell me the last impact defensive tackle taken in the top 10, or really even in the top. Really should rephrase this. Give me the last impactful defensive tackle, safety, and or tight end in the NFL in the last 20 years that have been taken in the top 5. I'll wait. So hopefully people will Google it, so I'll know too. Let's see here. I also want Reese. Okay. I think Reese is a perfect fit for the Giants. He's an actual linebacker. What the fuck is that? He's a linebacker. We did a show on Sunday about players that we probably should keep and players that we should probably cut. And I said I would keep Bobby Okereke because your value of savings in regards to the salary cap does not overshadow what his worth is to the organization. Because I keep telling this because I saw this one person and they won.
Stupid Giant Twitter post.
I can't remember who this person was, but what they said was we're going to get $100 million in cap space by cutting 20 guys. Let me say that again. He was going to cut 20 guys and make $100 million in cap space. And then I posted on Twitter, you are aware that if you do that, you have to replace those 20 guys. So everyone that you get rid of, you need to look at positional value in regards to his salary. If someone that you bring in is going to be a better value at that salary. And I don't think right now, and we don't know what free agency is yet, but I don't think right now there's a guy out there that's going to be better than Bobby Okereke for like $6 million, because that's going to be like your savings. So if you can tell me there's a guy on the open market you can get between $6 to $7 million to replace Bobby Okereke, then I'm good. But I don't see it. And I think that's a guy that you put up there with Reese. I would still let McFadden go. McFadden has like a 13 or 14.6 career missed tackle percentage. He's a liability in coverage. Good kid, hard-nosed player, fun, great kid to love to watch. He's my fifth. If he's my fifth linebacker, sign me up. 6 linebackers, sign me up. But when he's one of my top, if you're running a 3-4 and he's my top 4 one of my 4 linebackers, no, doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, but O-line from Miami and Alabama causes me anxiety. Yeah, I know it does that. It does that too. King of the almost sack to the Super Bowl.
King of the almost sack.
I don't know if I want to get a Julian Love jersey or a Leonard Williams jersey. I'm thinking I got to get a Leonard Williams jersey. I think for all the shit. And like I said, King of the almost sack was never about the play of Leonard Williams. It never was. And I've told people this. It was about the segment of the fan base that was like, well, he only had a half a sack, but he led the league with 60 pressures. So I was like, so he led the league in almost sacks. That's where that came about. Wilson was a good hire. Listen, I'm not going to tell you he's not. I think Wilson, if you take a look at it, players love him. He has the pedigree of being a successful defensive back coach. And you know who also was a successful defensive back coach? In Tampa, Mike Tomlin. I just threw that out because I worked with him in the Tomlin when he was defensive back coach. Not that I knew he was going to be a great head coach. I just throw that out there. It's called name dropping. But he does what he needs. He's going to do what he needs to do. And I think, like I said, if the players love you, if you've had success everywhere you've gone in regards to turning around secondaries, and like I said, my biggest thing with him was that first training camp with Tennessee Titans. We talked about it earlier when the players literally said, listen, when we don't do something right in the secondary, we work on it and he makes us fix it. And our old coach, we didn't do something right in the secondary. We just didn't do it. And that old coach was Shane Bowen. Oh, let's go to Super Chats. All Super Chats. Go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Andrew says, help me with my G Denver with points. Seattle. Oh, you know what? We're going to do that. Andrew, we're going to do that because we're going to talk about the mighty FanDuel. FanDuel.com, the #1 sports book in America. We actually had a good show, Andrew. If you missed it, you know what you need to do if you really want to get good betting tips is go to Betting with Behrman. It is a show. It is a podcast, also on the Believe Network. It's called Betting with Behrman. It's about David Behrman. He's worked for ESPN. He's worked for all these other places. He gave us a lot of good tips in reference to sports betting. And it is a Believe only exclusive podcast. So make sure you go there. Just go to his website. He actually gives out free tips, which is kind of awesome. But we're gonna get into that in a little bit, my friend. We're gonna get into that. So make sure you stay tuned. But thank you for the Super Chat. All Super Chats go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Let's jump back up so I don't make sure I didn't miss anyone because I don't like missing people's chats and I got lost. I'm lost in the sauce. Hate when that happens. Hate when you get lost in the sauce. Dr. Intel says Monken is perfect for Dart. We already talked about that briefly. Lamar got 2 MVPs under 2 different OCs. That's what I'm saying. Listen, Todd Monken's success with Lamar Jackson does not mean it is going to translate with success for Jackson Dart because they're 2 different players. Todd Monken is going to have to coach Jackson Dart differently than he would coach Lamar Jackson. Because by the time that Todd Monken got Lamar Jackson was already an MVP. So this is going to be a little different. It's not like Monken's came in during Lamar Jackson's rookie season and grew or helped grow Lamar Jackson into the player he is now. So it's gonna be a little different. But I do like Monken. I do think Monken is a good fit not only for the Giant organization as it is, but for John Harbaugh. I think I'm not disagreeing. I'm not. Roy Roberts Harris toughness thing he did was on the WWE show. Oh, our line. I don't even want to talk. You know what's funny? I keep preaching linebackers. Because if you actually look at our linebackers, yes, I know they say Brian Burns is a linebacker. He's not a linebacker. They say Abdul Carter is a linebacker. He's not a linebacker. Our true linebackers were Okereke, Muasau, and Chauncey Golston, backed up by Demetrius Flanagan Flowers, Fox, Neville Hewitt, Schwartz Bozeman, Zary Barnes, Trey Ford. And Kayvon Thibodeau was not a linebacker either. They're defensive ends. They're undersized defensive ends because if you put either Burns, Abdul Carter, or Kayvon Thibodeau in the linebacker position, you are going to see a lot of people running right up the middle, running off tackle, more than we normally see. Dart's on his 3rd OC. There's a quarterback called the Duck with Chargers who had 5 OCs in 5 years going back to college. How many OCs has Jalen Hurts had in 3 years? Let's see here. Well, Sim says, what I like about Monkins is that it seems like his scheme is flexible to work with different quarterbacks. Here's the thing, and we've talked about this, and Zach Attack and I have talked about this. Is it team over scheme or scheme over team? And you never want to have scheme over team because you want to fit your scheme to the team. So what Todd Monken's did in Baltimore, we don't have Derrick Henry. We don't have Lamar Jackson. So what he did in Baltimore is probably going to be totally different. And I hope it is. Because Shane Bowen, which I hated to hire, when he came over from Tennessee, I kept telling people, and people are like, I don't know what you're talking about, Tim. I'm like, no, I watched so much film at Tennessee because Malik Willis was on the team. I said, he likes to run a 4-3, and he likes to generate all of his pressure with a 4-man front and blitz maybe 25% of the time, which leaves his secondaries out to dry. And he saw the team that he had. He sees, I got all these press cover corners. I'm going to run zone. And then it wasn't until towards the end of last year, he's like, well, you know what? Maybe I should play some man to man. So he put his scheme over the team, and it didn't work. And I don't think Dennard Wilson's going to do that. And I don't think Todd Monken's will do that because everyone reports to Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is the CEO. At the end of the day, and this is what I wanted as a head coach. I've said this before. I want a guy that teaches discipline, that has the ability to delegate responsibilities to other people. Brian Dable was a control freak who never won anything before he came into this league as a coach. He was a control freak day one. When you are yelling at your defensive coordinator, stop blitzing in the middle of a game, something's very wrong here. And that's not John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is, and I've always wanted this for the Giants, and we haven't really seen it since Tom Coughlin. John Harbaugh is the CEO of the team. Not actually, but he is the CEO of the Giants football organization in regards to the football players. He oversees everything. He's going to oversee the offense. He's going to oversee the defense, but he allows, if you watch what he's done in Baltimore, he allows his coaches to coach. He steps in when something needs to be fixed, or he steps in when someone needs help, but he works with players individually. He allows his coaches to coach their players, and he treats these people, he treats these men as men. And that's what you treat. As soon as you hit the league, you are a professional. He treats these gentlemen as professional athletes because that's what they are. And he oversees everything. So he is going to I don't know if it's going to be Monken's, but he's going to let Monken's coach. We already know he's going to let Dennard Wilson coach. We already know he's going to let Chris Horton coach. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm telling you this. I still see 5 to 7 wins. And I love the fact that he's saying, and he didn't say he was going to go 17-0, which I thought was great. Because the way he phrased it in his press conference is, we expect to win every game. Because that's what you do. You expect to win. You're not going to, but you expect to win every game. And that's what we're going to work on. And then he prefaces it and says, we're going to take it one game at a time. Which I've always said. I said last year that this season, or that season, should be looked at as an on single game basis. You couldn't overlook anything. Now I know that sounds simplistic, but it's not. Especially for the fans, especially for the coaches, especially for the owners. But right now, Harbaugh's got the security. He's got the power. You got the touch. You got the power. He's got all that. After all is said and done, you never walk, you never run. You're a winner. He's got, you know the moves, you know the streets. Sorry, you're nobody's fool. You're at your best when the going gets tough. Sorry. But he does that. That's what he does. He coaches. He oversees, and he runs the operation. And that's why I'm excited about Dennard Wilson. That's why I'm excited about Chris Horton. That's why I'm excited to see who the OC turns out to be. Todd Monken's runs a similar offense as Ole Miss. I'll have to look at that because I don't see Baltimore cutting the field in half and giving Lamar Jackson one option, because I've seen Lamar Jackson go through his reads extensively. Just happy that John can tell Joe to shut up and take a seat. Stanley says, Tim, I see everyone is picking Seattle to win the Super Bowl, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Pats. I think the Patriots will win the Super Bowl. I don't want the Patriots to win. I don't like Mike Vrabel. I don't like the Patriots. We are Seattle Seahawks fans in this house, baby. King of the almost sack.
King of the almost sack.
But if we needed to take a look at the line, we would go on the mighty FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com, number one sports book in America. New customers bet $5. You get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Let's go to the FanDuel. I'm going to run to my app right here. I'm going to go to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's see what the line currently is with the NFL right now and the Super Bowl. Right now, the New England Patriots are 4.5-point favorites over the Seattle Seahawks. Wow, that's a big line to me. That's a big number to me. I'm not David Behrman from Behrman Betting with Behrman. I'm not David Behrman, but I would take Seattle in the 4.5. Before that line changes, I would take that bet because I think that line will go down. I think that line will go down. I've learned that if you should only do a 4-leg parlay, never do more than a 4-leg parlay. I learned that from David Behrman. I learned that when he was on the show. Never do more than a 4-leg parlay. Let's see. Diggs scores. This is a $10 wager or $10 wager. Win $300 on this parlay. Stephon Diggs, anytime touchdown. Okay. Stevenson, anytime touchdown. Jackson Smith, anytime touchdown. Kenneth Walker, anytime touchdown. You bet a $10 wager, you win $309. That's not a bad wager, but I don't see it being that high of a score. I don't, because I do like the secondaries of both teams. But I would. But listen, if I would take the 4.5. I think I'm going to run. I think I'm going to place the bet now. I'm going to place this bet now. I'm taking the Seahawks and the points. I'm going to bet. I'm not going to tell you how much I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to bet. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, I'm taking the points. What is this? A minus 112? 112. Okay, I'm going to take that. I'm going to cash out there. Okay, it's February 8th. Okay, I'm taking the points. I'm also going to bet on the coin results. I'm going to say it's heads. I'm going with heads. I'm going with heads as a coin result, baby. I'm going to add that to my list. I always wonder how do you dictate if it's a win or a loss on heads? I always wonder that. All right, so I'm going to take the point. I'm going to bet 150. I'm going to take the Seahawks and the spread, and I'm going to take heads. So I'm only going to do a 2-leg parlay, and that's going to be a same-day wager of 150. So I'm going to win $341. All right, that's good. That's on the mighty FanDuel.com, number one sports book in America. I always love FanDuel because they got the casino games, they got the fantasy games. I like the slot machine games. I think I'm just one of those people that's like seeing shit spin. I'm also got to start going into their NBA because with the season running down, I'm gonna have to still have my weight. Do have a little action going on here. I do like the NBA, and I'm gonna go through some of the NBA. You know what? Odds to make the finals. Oh, that's interesting. The Knicks aren't even on the odds to make the finals anymore. They're not even in the top 15. Oh, there we go. The Knicks are in the top 7 to make the finals. That's a good wage. I'm gonna take the Knicks in the finals. That's gonna be my other parlay. That's gonna be my other parlay. Whoa, you know what? What's funny? If I take the Seahawks heads and the Knicks on $150 bets, that's $9,670 I'm gonna win. Holy shit! I'm doing that 3-leg parlay. Sign me up, buddy. That's $9,000. Yeah, okay. No, we're not doing that. But that's FanDuel.com, number one sportsbook in America. And the show always is brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. Let's see. Dr. Intel says, just happy that John can tell how to shut up and take a seat. He's literally pulling. He is literally pulling a James Dolan. You got to love it. You have to love it. Dable would still be Bono 2002 if he had Drake May with us. You're right. Miguel Sanchez is far from our worst. Juan Miguel Sanchez is far from our worst. No, he's not far from our worst, but you need improvement, especially with a second-year quarterback. Zach Attack says, what do you think about wide receiver? We have one wide receiver and a bunch of 4s and 5s. I still think you can get a wide receiver, but I don't need a wide receiver in the first round. I don't. I need. Here's the thing. We have so many needs. I mean, let's be honest. We have so many needs on this team. And wide receiver to me should probably be maybe third on the list. I would look at linebacker and offensive lineman before I would look at wide receiver. And I like if you're going to go later in the draft, I like the kid out of Texas A&M. What's his name? Casey Concepcion. I do like him. If you're going to go even later in the draft a little bit, what's his name? Antonio Williams out. What is he with Clemson? He's a guy that had first round consideration not too long ago, but again, he's a smaller wide receiver at 5'11", and he's probably 5'9.5" because he's 5'11", college football measurements. I also like the kid out of the kid out of Notre Dame. I think you can get a quality wide receiver in the third or fourth round in this draft. Not a Pro Bowler, but I don't need a Pro Bowler. I got Malik Neighbors. I'm going to have Darius Slayton probably on the other side. You have to live with Darius Slayton's drops. It's funny. Who leads the league in drops? Because I always hear about the Jackson Dart's passing percentage would be so much better if it wasn't for all the drops. So we weren't even Denver led the league in drops. Giants don't even have a wide receiver in the top 20 in reference to drops. So we need to dispel that rumor. I just didn't know Denver. We saw the stat yesterday on the game. I didn't know Denver led the league in drops. But I think you can get a wide receiver in the third round. I think you need to build. I think you got to do this the Philly way. I think you got to do this the John Harbaugh way. You have to build your line. You have to build your both offensive and defensive line. Problem is we have the most amount of salary cap space allocated to the defensive line in any other team in the league. And we're not producing. Not that I love JMS, but he's getting better and has great leadership. Okay. 6-3-4. That's what great leadership has gotten us from JMS. 6-3-4. First year, led the league in holding penalties. Second year, led the league in sacks allowed by center. Just throwing that out there. They do have something. They do have to do something with JMS. Yeah, they can just cut him. What's wrong with that? They can just cut him. We love Harbaugh. Fire everyone. You fired. Fuck off, Giant fans. They didn't fire. Well, they did fire Carmen. But you know what? Carmen's not a Harbaugh guy. I have no problem with them getting rid of Carmen. Why? We have said this when Joe Shane first hired or was first hired and Brian Dable was first hired. The requirements for them being hired was they could work with Daniel Jones and make him an NFL quarterback. And I kept saying, no, that's not a reason to hire a head coach and a general manager. The reason is you can turn this team around and you should allow the general manager and head coach to come in and make their own decisions because everyone wants to win and lose with their own guys. And that's what John Harbaugh is doing. He's going to win or lose with his Harbaugh guys. May not be the plethora of players like Parcells or Belichick would bring in, but if he can build a coaching staff with people that he's familiar with and that he trusts and they all understand the same philosophy, you would hit the like button because there's only 49 likes. And we have how many people? We still have 127 people watching on this one section here. So can we just let's get at least a 75. You know what? I'll make you a bet. I'll make you a bet, not a bet. I'll make you I'll make you a wager. I have a great video coming up in a couple days that I was going to just do in a video, but I'll do it as a live tomorrow if we get up to 100 likes before I leave. And it is a fucking awesome topic. It is an awesome topic, and I would love to go over it. But thank you. That's what I've been telling people. I don't know what we're talking about because I'm way behind the chat, but yeah, you're right. How can fans complain about everything when the last couple of years we've sucked? That's the thing. You're going to get rid of people. Yeah, I get it. But you've been god awful for how many years? You sucked since we've sucked for 15 years. We've had 2 playoff appearances and 1 playoff win in 15 years. We've had 13 wins in 3 years. Everyone on this team, in my mind, should be gone. There should not even be a question that we should literally fire, cut, shoot people out of a clown cannon, do everything to revamp this entire roster because of the fact that we haven't been winning. it's a little different that if we had been competitive and if we had been winning and we had been showing progress as a season ticket holder. When they hired Joe Shane and Brian Dable, I said I would be happy with seasons that were as a season ticket less. I would be happy with seasons that were less competitive in regards to winning, because of the fact, as long as I saw progress. If I saw progress, then I'd be like, okay, this is something different. This is something special. We never saw that. And I'm hoping that we're going to see this with the Harbaugh. And that's why I said, I'm going to give Harbaugh 2 years. 2 years. He's got carte blanche in my mind. I may question some of his moves. I may come on here and question his moves, because that's what I do. Because like I said, we are not a fan channel. We are not Ryan over at Ryan Biggs Blue Podcast, but Ryan's 17, so he can be rah, rah, rah all he wants. We're going to be realistic. And I don't, and like I said, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. And that's why when people are like, well, you've been doing this for 4 years and you're negative. Well, what have we done in 4 years that needs to be positive? And I've just given you perspective, and I love it, because I think it's LeVar that always comes on. Maybe it's OG Knockout that's like, you know what, the problem is you may hate Tim, but he's always right. What has he been wrong about in 4 years? So we're just going to give the Harbaugh time. We're going to allow him to pick his guys and move on. I saw Daniel Jones winning a Super Bowl. What happened to that? Where'd that one go? I got to find out where that one was. Hold on. Where was I? Oh, shit. I scrolled the wrong way. Ugh. Scrolled the wrong way. What's up, James Stein? How you doing, my brother? Oh, let's see here. I saw something. Oh, here we go, Joe Ferris. We played Daniel Jones in the Ultimate Revenge game next time. Mr. Perry says, shout out to the big cat, Leonard Williams. You gotta love the big cat. Zach and Tech says, Cordell Flat stats, totals, tackles, 100, forced fumbles, 3, pass deflections. Wait, I can't read the stats, Zach. You got them all. You got them all kaboogled. Let's see here. Fano is a good pick. Like I said, I don't think Fano from Utah is a sexy pick. I don't think Fano is going to be this pick that are going to drive Giant fans crazy. But if you get yourself that Spencer, if you get yourself a Tyler Lindenbaum, now Fano also is a little undersized at 300 pounds, and he's also 6'6". He's a guy that you could probably see putting on like 15 pounds coming into the league. I love the fact that he's from Spanish Fork, Utah. I always wanted to come from a cool place like that. I don't know if it's cool, but like a cool name like that. Where do you come from? I come from Spanish Fork, Utah. But he's a guy that's got versatility. He is a guy that can play left tackle. He can play right tackle. He can play guard. He does everything that you want. He does everything that you want him to do. I am not going to lie to you. Issue is hand play. He's got some issues with hand play. He's got some issues, but again, we're going to see we're going to coach him up. He's got issues with hand placement a little bit. Sometimes he doesn't know what to do with his hands, but we're not going to get into the draft just yet. But there's so many things that we can do. And if you get someone like Fano, you have someone like Andrew Thomas, and you have Tyler Lindenbaum, you have literally solidified 2 of your 3 spots. And you have created a protection packet for Jackson Dart, which then you can turn around and make him into an NFL passer. Because there's more than being an NFL quarterback and running around. Cardinal Tate is like a second-round neighbors draft. Cardinal, I think Tate is good at the position. I mean, I can't take Tate at 5. I'm sorry. Wandale produces because there's no – but that's the funny thing. Wandale's production fell after neighbors went down. That kind of didn't make sense to me. Kyle Hamilton. Yeah, what about Kyle Hamilton? Yeah, but Kyle Hamilton was – how good was Kyle Hamilton until this year? Okay, this is a great point about defensive tackles taken in the top 5. When was Sue taken? What year? Dominican Sue. What year was Dominican Sue taken? What kind of defense does Dennard Wilson like? He ran a base Dennard Wilson, but like I said, I can't tell you 100% because he had to run the players that he had in Tennessee. He ran a base. He ran a base 3-4 defense. So I mean, but like I said, there was Tennessee Titans do not have a lot of great players. Can we just be honest? Tennessee Titans do not have luxury players. There was not a plethora of talent on that team. Jeffrey Simmons is a great player. I think Jeffrey Simmons is a good player. But like I said, you were, I like that one, what's his name? Liam, the one corner they have. But I like Cedric Gray, but Cedric Gray is a rookie. You know, it's funny when Jihadi Ward is one of your starting linebackers. Jihadi Ward was one of your, by the end of the season, Jihadi Ward, who played for the Giants, was one of their starting linebackers. That's when you know you are in trouble. I'm going to start Jihadi Ward. I'm like, oh, we're fucked. Let's see. AJ Nick says, I'm sure Dave will push hard to resign Slayton if he came good. Listen, I don't know why we resigned Slayton. There was so many fans and content creators so happy about that. And I'm sitting there like, I told people on the stream, I was like, does anyone remember the big drop years ago in Tampa? Because I did. Does everyone remember all the drops this motherfucker has? Seems like he has every season. I did. And then I love it because then you have a segment of content creators and fans that are like, he's dropping the ball. It's shocking. It's like, that's what he does. he makes the big catch and then he drops like 4 in a row. My God. Trade Dexter Lawrence, cap room. He went back. I already said, Darth, we did a video yesterday and I did a video 9 months ago where I said we should trade Dexter Lawrence. I wanted to trade Dexter Lawrence before the start of the season. He's going to be 31 at the end of his contract. He had a bad season with the elbow. His production in the run game has not been stellar since he has been in this league, since they moved on from Dalvin Tomlinson. People will talk about the 9 sacks he had 2 years ago, but most of those sacks came when he was moved to the defensive end position. The running game in the interior of this line and off tackle has been a sieve, has been wide open. It's like a hooker in Amsterdam, open for business.
That's what she said.
So, and then he had the beef with Carl Banks. My elbow's not a problem. Well, my elbow hurts. When I said this, the moment he said the elbow's not a problem, I told you, we could not come back and say, well, my elbow does hurt, because then it looks like an excuse. His play has been dropping, which happens for defensive tackles when they start it's funny. Running backs flame out at 27. Defensive tackles usually start their downfall around, not a huge, some have a huge drop, some have just a little drop around 28. His value was at the most it was before the start of last season. I think you could have got like a 1 and a 4 for him to start of last season. Now maybe you're looking at a 2 and a 5. And people are like, well, let him play and then trade him midseason. Well, here's my question. What if he doesn't play well? What if he plays worse? Are we then going to take a 5th rounder for Dexter Lawrence? No. Trade him when his value is at the highest. That's why I said 9 months ago. No, I guess it'll be like 10 months ago now. I said trade. We had the video. I forgot where it was. Let's just trade him when he's at his highest value, and then move that way. Cap space is a mirage, dude. Then how come we can never sign anybody? How come we can never sign anybody, Joe? If it's a mirage. And Denise put in the chat the other day about the Philadelphia Eagles and how they always have hundreds of $1 million in dead cap space. And I try to explain to her, they don't have hundreds of millions of dollars in dead cap space. What they do is they build this salary. Right now, they have about $10 million in cap space. The Eagles going into 26. They don't have, and she was like, well, someone told me they have hundreds of $1 millions in dead cap space. Well, yeah, they do. Technically, they do. Like if they cut Jalen Hurts, that's $117 million. You cut AJ Brown or trade him, that's $72 million. Of course, this is pre-June 1st. If you cut, Lane Johnson, it's $40 million. You cut. They have all these huge dead cap numbers on their star players. There's a reason. And there's a rationale, because what he does is he guarantees a lot of the money up front first. So he takes a lesser of a cap hit. like Jalen Hurts, guaranteed salary, I think next year is like $50 million, which was the first time he had even cracked that because he was in the 20s. Because he basically moved through what how he does is he gives the money up front. Actually, Jalen Hurts cap hit is $31 million. Lane Johnson's only 24, AJ Brown's only 23, Dallas Goedert's only 20, Jordan Day, and that's what they have. But he gives them all the money up front. He gives them all these bonuses, and then he has this huge dead cap number. Now, the huge dead cap number only affects the Eagles if they cut or trade these players. It's a stroke of genius because, like I said, Jalen Hurts, he's got $117 million dead cap number. And I love it because Jalen Hurts says, I want a no trade clause when he was negotiating his contract. And Howie looked at him and said, okay, sure. Because Howie knows that I cannot move on for Jalen Hurts because I got this huge dead cap number. There's no way I can move on from him. And that's only a dead cap number. And then he knows that in 2027, that dead cap number drops down to 45. The guy's 29 years old, and I'm out of his deal before 28. I have the potential out at 28 to get out of the fucking deal. And I love it because Jalen Hurts' cap hit going back to 23. This is why Howie's a fucking genius. Going back to 23, $6 million in 23, 13 in 24, 21 in 25, 31 in 26, 42 and 27, and they can get out in 28. And then they can totally be devoid of his contract in 29. So dead cap space only becomes an issue if you trade or move on or cut the player. And so that's why Howie should teach a masterclass on how to do that, on how to work on that cap space. That's just me, though. Let's see. How funny Sam Darnold didn't want the Dallas. How funny Sam Darnold had 14 wins and 2 teams and not actually what you call it. Sean Taylor, we've talked about, and how long ago was Sean Taylor? This, you guys see this, and the reason why I tell you to put up these names because you're proving my point. How long ago was Sean Taylor? And Sean Taylor did not really become Sean Taylor until season 3. He was good season 1 and 2, but he did not become Sean Taylor until the 3rd season, and then what happened year 4, God rest his, RIP, was just horrific. So, I mean, big James Simon says, Carter is the new king of the almost sack, part of the Ghost Brothers triplets. Well, right now, yeah, he is. Petro, what's up, Petro? Hey, Tim, are you doing good, sir? Hope you and your family are safe after the crazy snow. Yeah, I gotta go dig out in about 30 minutes. Not that I want to, but I had to run the cars. It's been a crappy day. You're right. I know, Dr. Intel. I'm always right. I know that. Let's see here. Got to hope that Todd Monken's withdrawals from the Cleveland Browns to join Harbaugh and the Giants. I am hoping that Todd Monken does. But I will tell you this, Nelson. If he doesn't and he gets the job in Cleveland, I am excited to see where he goes. John Harbaugh, where he goes for a coordinator. I am excited to see that. I would be thrilled to see that. What do we got here? Where are we at? Because I said 100 likes before we leave. We got 67. So I got 127 people watching over there. We need 100 likes. If we get 100 likes before I leave at 1, I will do a big stream tomorrow. I have such a stream that I want to do. It wasn't going to be a stream. It was going to be a video. But I will do another stream tomorrow, and I will do what I wanted to do because it's my prerogative. I'll do what I want to do, but I will do this video. It is all about Jackson Dart. It's a great video. It was going to be a great video, but it would be a more awesome stream. And we're potentially having a former NFL quarterback, not named Matt Sims, coming onto the stream. So, but I'm only going to do it if we hit 100 likes. If we don't hit 100 likes, then I'm not going to do it. Then I will do the video. Sliders said, but Tim, we have Scataboo, Mr. CTE. We do. Monken knows how to run the Ole Miss offense. College offense, and I know Dr. Intel, but a college offense is not going to work for a continuous period of time in the pros. That's the problem. Great, Coach. You said great great that it's my spell check changes Harbaugh to Harbaugh. I love the Harbaugh though. Let's see. Andrew said Monken is the 3rd favorite to get the Browns job. He's the third favorite for the Cleveland Browns job. Let's look at that. Let's look that up. Cleveland Browns HC. Who are the favorites? Favorites. 2026. Who are the favorites right now? 33 minutes ago, new favorites for the Cleveland Brown job from Yahoo Sports. Hello, I'm Yahoo Sports. Let's see who the new favorites are going to be. Let's see. Remaining Cleveland candidates: defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, passing coordinator Nate Seabob, Commanders running game Anthony Lynn, and former Ravens OC Todd Monken. I would have loved to have gotten Jim Schwartz as the defensive coordinator. I'm not backing out Mr. Wilson, Dennard Wilson, but Jim Schwartz as the defense coordinator here would have been fucking awesome. That would have been awesome. But, like I said, we're going to see how well Dennard Wilson does now with two. And I love the fact, like I said, I love the fact that Dennard Wilson now has 2 years of experience under his belt as a DC. It's not that I didn't like him, and not that I didn't want him, but I thought that he would have been, I didn't think he would have been good here 2 years ago, because I did not want a second-year OC, first-year DC, and a failed third-year head coach. But like I said, now he's got 2 years of experience. He's got the pedigree in regards to rebuilding secondaries. I think it's a great hire. Big Nichols, what's up, brother? Where you been? Glad to hear you're giving us another season and a chance of Kafka being OC. And what's your thoughts on that? No. Bad, Big Nichols. Bad. No. 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 8-11 wins. I hope it's 8-11, but no, Big Nichols. No. I hope it's 8-11 wins, but I don't see it. Oh, Todd Monken's plus 800 to be the next. Should I add that on, Joe? Should I add that on my parlay? I got this big part. But I learned don't do more than a 4-leg parlay. But the problem is with FanDuel, you build your parlay, and every time you build it, you put your money, you see how much money you can win. So then I'm at like an 8-leg parlay, and I'm like, well, if I win, I'm winning like $400,000. Only problem is I never win. I don't know what I did with my cell phone. I lost my cell phone. I've lost my cell phone. I got no clue what my cell phone is. Studs, what's up, Stu? Good afternoon, Tim. What are you doing? Jay, let's see. Joe says, Tim, doing that Aaron Rodgers thing, talk about retirement after every. No, I actually was done. I was literally done. I was done. Even James Williams was like, you are so done. I said, I know. Andrew says, and actually I was doing more of a Brett Favre. Exactly. He's not that job. Merkin is our next OC. Book it. I'm going to take Monken as our next OC. I am. Seattle's going to destroy the Pats. Let's Big Dog Status says Barkley the Super Bowl last year. Now Love and Leo in the Super Bowl. Low Joe Shane Masterclass. Don't forget either Drew Lock, who fucked us in that game against Indianapolis, or Tommy DeVito, who fucked us with those wins a couple of years ago, are also, one of them is also going to get a Super Bowl ring. Awesome. Because he's a Harbaugh guy. He's a Harbaugh's boy. You know what? I'm good with that. Let's see. Dr. Intel's got Seattle 31 paid. Like I said, I'm taking the Seattle in the 4.5. I'm doing that. Mr. Perry says, don't want to hear that. Dable had a chance to draft Bo Nix. He had a draft to a lot of people. Need more than a homeless shelter. Oh, I don't know where you need a homeless shelter for. I must have missed something. Let's see. The kid from Notre Dame. Yeah, I do like the kid from Notre Dame. Would the fans burn the MetLife if they drafted Love at 5? I don't know if they would burn things down. I wouldn't take Love at 5. I would trade down if you want to take Love, but I wouldn't have a problem taking a running back because Tyrone Tracy's not a bell cow back. We don't know. For everyone wants to be Cam Scatterboo, how well he does, nobody really can tell you what Cam Scatterboo is going to be. And we are not proficient in the running game. We really kind of do need to set up the pass with the run. Joe Ferris said, damn it, Tim. I tried to say something nice for once and you shit on me. Joe, listen, man. I love you, brother. But you know I don't take compliments well. You know I don't take compliments now. You know that. When did you say something nice? What did I miss? Let's see. Monken has been the highest paid coordinator for years. Why the fuck with it and go with a dysfunctional team? Because John Harbaugh went here. I'm sorry if I missed something. I'm sorry if I made you something nice. It's all good. See, look at this. I love that. Now you can say, only person I would even think about keeping is Andrew Thomas. I agree. Let's see. Joe also says we had our best O-line in years. You want to can everyone? No, I don't want to can everyone. And here's my question to you, Joe. Did we have our best offensive line in years, or did our quarterback just get rid of the ball faster? Because all of a sudden, when Daniel Jones went down years ago, the offensive line learned to block. We had with Tyrone Taylor, we had 2 or 3 games. Well, no, I know we had 2 games where we didn't have to give up a sack. And when you make a decision quickly, you get better. And when you have a scrambling quarterback that's just running around throwing the ball, did you really get better? Or is it just because you have a scrambling quarterback? And I'm not saying get rid of everyone. I'm just saying if I keep Andrew Thomas, bring in Tyler Linderbaum, draft Fano, I fixed 3 of my spots. You want to bring back Ellie Moore Fudd? We only have $11 million in cap space, guys. We can probably get a 40 more. You're going to have to do some restructures. You're going to have to do some moves. So you can be around like 50, 60 million. But to my point, anytime you move on from a player, you have to replace that player. And like the one guy who won Stupid Giant Twitter post created 100 million, but he also cut 20 people and got rid of Dexter Lawrence. So you now have 33 men on your roster. So you're going to draft 22 guys. Football logic. Trenton's is on his lunch break. What's up, Big Trent? How you doing, brother? Ronald said it should not be hard to bring up the win totals. Coaching decisions on defense really suck. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I think Harbaugh gives you 2 to 3 wins. So if you were a 4-win team and you get 2 to 3 wins, that's why I said they're going to win 6 to 7. This is why I said this is a 6 to 7 win team. That's why I said 67 wins. Because I do believe coaching is going to get you at least 2 to 3 wins. That was me. Oh, that was you, Mr. Perry. I wasn't sure who said it. Ronald says, I think Shane mainly drafted who head coach wanted, good or bad, except the quarterback. I don't know if he really drafted who the head coach wanted. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That was 2010. You're right. James Stein says, everyone hit the like button. Let's Tim show the love. Show me the love, guys, because like I said, we get to 100 likes before I close this out. I will do the stream tomorrow. I will do the big stream tomorrow, all about Jackson Dart. Oh, I got a lot to say. And it's going to be what they like to refer to. Epic. Let's love to see it drop. Linebacker drop to 5. I would love to see Reese, but I just don't see him falling down to 5. Tim, you think Dexter Lawrence needs to lose some weight, but that could be part of the issue. There's always been larger men playing defensive tackle. I don't think that him losing weight is going to, it could help. Couldn't hurt. At this point in time, it couldn't hurt, could it? But we got to kind of wait and see. It's this delicate balance with Dexter Lawrence, because I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. And certain people like it and certain people don't like it. Is Dexter Lawrence a really good player on a bad team? And will he still be that impactful of a player on a good team? I don't know, because Dexter Lawrence has only been on bad teams. And it's funny that we keep talking about, again, we got to get him a running mate. Well, during the playoffs in 2022, the playoff season, he had Leonard Williams. And at times the run defense still in the interior was so porous. And there was a couple of games when Williams and Lawrence went out and DJ Davidson came in as a rookie. And I can't remember who the other player was. And the defensive yards given up per average on the run actually went down a yard. So it's curious to see why people keep, this is going to be like, and this is what bothers me. It's going to be like the Daniel Jones. He needs weapons. And we scoured the earth. We did so many things that hurt us salary cap wise to get Daniel Jones weapons, and Daniel Jones just didn't work out. So now the new battle cry is, well, Dexter Lawrence needs a running mate. Why? Whatever happened, if you play a 3-4, if we do play a 3-4, Giants in 86 played a 3-4. Jim Burt as the nose tackle, flanked by Leonard Marshall and George Martin. So my question is to this, Jim Burt manned that nose tackle position by himself. Eric Howard, going back to 90. Giants still run a similar 3-4 style defense. Eric Howard manned the middle of the field at the nose tackle position on his own. So I don't look at football logic and say, yes, he needs a running mate. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make, from a football logical standpoint, in regards to playing a 3-4, it makes zero sense. If Jalen Hurts keeps regressing no, that's the thing. This is the beauty of the Jalen Hurts contract. They can get out of Jalen Hurts contract technically next year in 27 and only have a $45 million dead cap number on a post June 1st. Think about that. And like I said, we went through the contract. They were paying this guy such low amount of money for 4 years that if you look, you got to remember his cap hit in 23 was 6, 13 to 24, 21, 2005. And last year, and this year, it's only going to be 31. In 27, they're only paying him 42. They can void it and get out of it in like I said, before 28. Howie, it's literally a masterclass by Howie on what you got to do. Jalen's going to be fine. Yeah, your offense coordinator was LeVar. What's up, my brother? I'm here. Let's talk getting orders from Caleb Downs jersey early. I wouldn't. I'm going to get early with my Leonard Williams jersey. I think I'm going to get a Leonard Williams jersey. I think I'm going to just change the back of the name.
King of the almost sack.
We're only at 83 likes, guys, and I'm closing out in 23 minutes. Like I said, 100 likes. I had a video. I had a topic for today's stream that was going to be awesome. The thumbnail was beautiful. And I was like, I should do it, but I don't want to do it because of what just happened. But I will do it tomorrow.
That's what she said.
If we hit 100 likes before I leave in 27 minutes. And we're at 83. And like I said, I'm always a man of my word. We're 15 likes away. We hit 100, then I'll do it. If we don't hit 100, then I'll just put it out as a video. Petro says, do you think Odell has a chance to come here and play for the New York Giants? Harbaugh, and because he needs a cheap veteran. No, I don't want Odell. I love Odell. I have a picture of Odell on the couch on my wall in my office. I don't want Odell. That would be such a non-Harbaugh move, and I don't see that ever. I don't see that happening. Petro Skyline says, "Hey Tim, after seeing the late corner recovery and Baker and Sam, and was it a mistake for the NFL to change the rookie contracts in 2011?" No, I think it was the right way to go to change the contracts. I would say, Tim, you got to let us send you our mock drafts. Tell us which one is the best and what you would do. Oh, LeVar, that's actually a good, we should do a contest. That's a good thing to do. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to text that to myself. Hold on. I'm texting that to myself. Let's see. I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to do that as a wedge cut. I'm going to have to do that. Where's that? Contest. I don't know what we're going to dib out. Contest. Best NFL mock draft. All right, LeVar, that's a good one, brother. That's a good one. We're gonna do Dom, Arsenal domination. What's up, my brother? How you doing, Dom? No to Kafka. Yeah, fuck no. And if he takes Joe Shane and others with him, that'd be a good idea. Yeah, no to Kafka. No, please. Thank you. Don't come again. Oh my God. How Dom, how's the Arsenal? How's the Arsenal FC? How did they do for yesterday against Manchester United? Was it Manchester? Was it Man United they played yesterday? How did the Arsenal do? I forget. I wasn't looking. Petro says, what O-lines do the Giants take at 5? No, I say you trade out of 5. I like Proctor and I like Fano. I say you trade out of 5. Shall I call it for you? I didn't. You did. Hey, Big Al says, hey, me brother. I like Wilson hiring. He's a guy that showed a degree of elevating the talent and getting the most out. Listen, he is a guy. Dennard Wilson is a guy that has had a competitive, successful secondaries everywhere he's gone as a secondary coach. I don't blame him for the failures of the Titans because the Titans were a gutted team under a new regime. And the players that he had just, and like I said, I did not like this sign. I would not have liked this signing 2 years ago, but now that he's got 2 years experience under his belt as a DC, he understands the inner workings on the NFL. He understands the inner workings of calling the game. I like it. I like the Chris Horton move. Horton here's a who. I like that. We're at 90 likes, guys. You have 19 minutes. For those that do not know, I have a video that I was going to do about Jackson Dart, and we're going to post it tomorrow. But then I was thinking I should just do it as a live stream. And I think I'm going to, if we hit 100 likes before I leave, I will do it as a live stream. And I think it would be a epic live stream if we did it that way. But I said before, I will only do it if we hit 100. If we hit 100 likes before I close out in about 18 minutes. Big Greg says Tommy DeVito, Jersey Shore Tommy might get a ring. Drew Lock might get a ring. Drew Lock is the backup quarter. I think James Williams nearly had a conniption because I told him, I said, Drew Lock is the backup quarterback for this team. And he was like, oh, shit. I love Reese. I've already said it. I would take Reese at 5, but I don't think he's getting past Arizona. I think Reese out of Ohio State is just what the Giants need, an athletic linebacker who can sit there and play the field at second level, have the ability to rush the passer, but do things that we have not seen our linebackers do outside of Blake Martinez and the first year of Bobby Okereke. Make tackles for losses, flow to the ball. We use that phrase a million times before. You don't get lost in the sauce, but you flow. Blake Martinez was wonderful at that. Blake Martinez was great at playing 2 yards off the line of scrimmage and somehow flowing to the ball, not getting lost in the sauce, flowing to it, getting through the traffic. And I think Reese would be perfect like that. That's what I said. I keep Bobby Okereke. I draft Reese. I get another linebacker in free agency. Doesn't have to be a top tiered linebacker. I use my plethora of undersized defensive ends as stand-up rushing linebackers in the LT-esque type, not LT, but LTS type position on the 3-4 like the 86 Giants did, the 90 Giants did when they had Banks, they had Banks, Taylor, Carlson, and Reasons. And then they had Banks, Reasons, Pepper Johnson, Mullins, Taylor. And I run it that way. And then hopefully you have Dennard Wilson going back to a more of a man philosophy with Paulson Adebo and Deontay Banks. And hopefully you put someone maybe like Drew. You teach Cordell. Well, no, I'm probably going to get rid of Cordell Flott, but you teach Drew Phillips how to be an NFL corner and actually prevent people from catching the ball. And then you try to figure out what to do with Holland. Then you probably have to draft a safety. That's what I'm saying. Nah, nailed your commodities trades lately, Tim. I don't know, to be honest. I actually think, because my phone's upstairs and I'm actually jonesing a little bit because I can't get on my other site either to see what's going on in the market. Well, let's see. Gold's up $113 an ounce. So yeah. And let's see. Silver is up $12 an ounce. Platinum's up 85. Palladium's up 132. Yeah, I actually did pretty well. I wish I would have bought more when we had that little downfall. I wish I would have actually gotten some more out of that. But Dow's still up 229 too. So I made some trades this morning that I was happy with. I got out of a couple stocks that I was happy with. But yeah, I've actually been kicking ass on like my commodities trading. I haven't really been trading. I've been standing pat. But we've had such a large increase. So OG Knockout said, in my opinion, Tim, I believe Harbaugh will work better with Brandon Brown than Joe Shane. I think he knows that Brandon Brown to still be with the Giants. If Harbaugh doesn't like him, my opinion. I don't know, man, because Brandon Brown's been, unless Joe Shane has not been listening to his subordinates, which we kind of see in Hard Knocks that he doesn't, Brandon Brown's been part of this organization and part of the problem. I don't have a problem to keep Brandon Brown, but he's been part of the problem. That's what I'm saying. So we got to kind of look at that from that perspective. Is he part of the solution or part of the problem? I don't know yet. 7 likes away. 14 minutes.
Lombardi, doesn't magic still lingers in the name with duels in the ice and the snow?
We hit that mark, guys. We hit 7 more in 14 minutes. I will then come back tomorrow and give you an epic stream. Coach, let's see. Coach D says, our O-line played better because of the second year that we're all together with the same offensive line coach. The offensive line didn't get better until their unit played together. Yes, 100%. It's called continuity. Love it, Dave. Love it, Coach D. 100%. Big Dom says, I think he usually drafted the HC he wanted. I know it's a free agent example, but BD wanted an O-line addition. And the answer was, what about Brian Burns? You're right. That's also what Shane Bone wanted. Let's see here. Carter is a great almost act. Yeah, he is kind of part of that group right now. Silver, but you have to remember, it's not just silver and gold. You have to remember palladium. If you got onto palladium within the last year, you have seen a huge increase in the price of palladium. And it's the same thing with platinum. Platinum and palladium are used in chips that make these electric cars and shit. And they're also used in missile defense systems and things. Like palladium is selling right now over $1,200 an ounce, $2,100 an ounce, excuse me. And platinum's closing in on $3,000 an ounce. So if you got into those investments, you're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's see. Peach though, is Reese too similar to Abdul Carter? Well, no. Two different players. No. They are not the same player. Arvell Reese and Abdul Carter are not similar players. Abdul Carter had a 46.7 missed tackle percentage his second season as an off-the-ball linebacker, which is why they moved him to the defensive end. He is more of a hybrid but people say he's more of a hybrid linebacker, Reese, but he is a true linebacker at 6'4", 243. I always laugh because if you remember anything in Giant history, the Giant linebackers in 86 averaged like 6'3", 250. And they were fast, they were quick. This guy, but to me, I see him being more as a hybrid, Reese, in reference to playing either inside or outside. And I would put him as an outside linebacker. Howie is a genius. Yes, he is. Let's see. Joe says Titans will take Reese Watch and they will run to the podium. Yes, sort of like when Tom Coughlin did that with Josh Allen, the linebacker out of Kentucky. Let's see. OG says, I think Dexter Lawrence is still good, Tim. He's just tired of losing his passion to win. If the Giants trade him, he'll be better somewhere else like the other Giants Joe let go. Gotta wait and see. Trent says, I believe Neighbors will win comeback player of the year. Pick 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. I like that. Big Al says, come on, guys, beat that like button. Help a brother out. Where are we at? Where you at? Peanut butter jelly time. No more peanut butter jelly time. I ate that freaking Uncrustable, man. 4 likes away. 11 minutes. Do we clear the hurdle? Lombardi said magic still lingers in the name. Do we clear the hurdle? I don't know. I could see that. I'm down with that. Okay. Ryan says, "Oh my God, is it possible that we might actually get a linebacker?" I would fall over if we actually got a linebacker. I might collapse. You mean like a true linebacker? And like I said, I consider Reese a hybrid only in the fact that I could see Reese playing either position, not either position in regards to defensive end, either position in regards to linebacker inside, linebacker outside. That's what I see. That's what I enjoy. That's what I think. That's kind of where I'm going with this. And that's kind of what I want to see. And I think he can get that. Where are we at, guys? We had 100 likes yet? Are we at 100? If we're at 100, then I will do my show. We are 2 likes away. 2 freaking likes away. And then I will do a stream tomorrow that will blow your mind. You're going to have to strap in because some of the things that I am going to say tomorrow about Jackson Dart and where we need to be with this philosophy. You are going to blow your minds. You're going to sit there and say, "Tim, I can't believe you just broke that down so succinctly, so beautifully that you literally have just blown my mind." Oh shit, we're at a fucking 100. Fuck you all. Oh God, I was so close. I was 9 minutes away. I'm such an idiot. I was fucking 9 minutes away. Cutthroat says, "I'm excited for the upcoming season. He's buying 2 tickets for the Eagle Cowboys." That's a beautiful thing, brother. Joe says, "Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Is that the same type as salute to Joe Shea?" No, Joe Ferries. I ate an Uncrustable yesterday. I had made 2 promises that I would just unliked for you. Thanks. Well, Dom, I'll just have you. Dom, can you come on for a minute? Because that's an easy way just to lose like 100 likes. Dom, seriously, you can come on for like 5 minutes. I don't know. You might be busy. But Joe, what I did yesterday is I literally ate an Uncrustable because I said that I would eat an Uncrustable live on the show and stay if they hired John Harbaugh because I thought here you go, Dom. Dom, I put the link in the chat. I lost my phone. I didn't lose it. It's somewhere. It might be in the snow. There you go, Big Don. We're going to have Big Don on for a minute. Big Don, come on down. We got 9 minutes left. I'd love to get your perspective on these new hires. I'd like you to get the perspective on the downfall of the Arsenal. Dom, of course, is the lead for, or I'm not even the lead. Dom, of course, is from Arsenal Domination. That number one. Did you really say number one? Because does anyone really care about soccer? It wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, I reckon I can catch the ball better than a LA Chargers returner, though.
That wasn't a rhetorical. Big Tom, where have you been, bro? I feel like I haven't seen you in ever. We were literally just talking about you the other day.
Working hard and not having to deal with the snow like you guys. Wow, those pictures you sent me earlier were something, right?
Yeah. I love it because people are like, "Yeah, we're only gonna get like 8 inches," and then at one point in time,
That's what she said.
At one point in time in the morning, there was already 8 inches of snow. This was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And it wasn't going to stop snowing until 11 o'clock at night. And then it turned to rain. So the good news is we got like 20 something inches of snow. And then the rain came and just locked it all into place. And now it's 20 degrees and the high is going to be 8.
Nice. Sounds delightful. We're just dealing with floods.
100. I love the picture. I showed the wife the picture. And she was like, "Well, why did they have to come out and look at the field when it was?" She goes, "It's clearly underwater."
Yeah. This, for context, is my son's game was called off a couple of weeks ago, and they need to do a pitch inspection on the morning. It was about 5 feet underwater. So my question was, "What are you doing in the pitch inspection? An arc?"
Yeah, I mean, I saw that when you sent me the picture. I was like, "I can't see that."
Literally between 2 rivers that flooded. Like,
yeah, it was mind boggling. But Big Don, we had some hires. We had the Dennard Wilson hire as the new defense coordinator. We have Chris Horton. I like to say it, former Giant Chris Horton, even though he got cut in training camp in 2011. But you got 2 guys that have NFL pedigrees and being successful. and I know it's a weird word to use around Giant fandom, successful at certain things, such as, like
Sorry,
said,
just one moment, Tim. I'm just trying to see what that word means.
I was like, if you could Google that, that would be great, because I wasn't sure what that meant. But Dennard Wilson has been a successful coach in regards to the secondary and getting the most out of his players for years. I don't fault him for what happened in Tennessee, because Tennessee has no players. Chris Horton has also had a successful career as a special team coach, and he knows Harbaugh. I mean, you gotta say it. These are good moves.
I think it looks it on paper, right? I mean, what you want is you want the coach to have the full trust of whoever he hires, and you want to sort of make sure that there is a plan in terms of how we're going to play.
Wait. Success and a plan?
It's like Sesame Street. You get to learn something every day.
I was like, my fans are saying, like, we got to look this shit up. We don't know what this is. It's a successful plan?
Yeah.
No.
Today's letter is P, and the lucky number is 8, because that's how many wins we might get.
I would be happy with that.
Yeah, it'd be an improvement. I think you can probably put in two wins just because of not doing stupid coaching moves. And you'd like to think that players will get better. That's probably 4 wins just from that. So you stop the dumb calls and you improve the coaching. I think that takes you to 8 wins, right?
Well, well, like I said, we had 4 wins this year, and I think that's why I'm still saying 7 wins. And I think that just the hiring of Harbaugh, not even knowing out if Todd Munkins is coming, not even know what the coaching staff is, not even know what the players' philosophy is going to be. But I think this is at least a 4-win team, and I think the coaching philosophy of Harbaugh gives you a minimum of 3 wins.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think, like I say, I think there were 2 wins we should have got this year, but you can look at it the other way and say, did we get wins at the end of the season we might not get next year? Who knows? But I think that's probably fair. But I think your point here around we don't know what the players are going to be, I think that really suits what I was going to say next on the coaching staff. You want it to be coaches that have that relationship with Harbaugh, will fit the way he wants to play, which we assume is going to be similar to Ravens, but he doesn't mean that he will coach that exact way. I think he will want to sort of build towards a team he wants to do, but I think he's a versatile enough coach to sort of work with what he's got, start moving that way. But you don't want to hire coaches necessarily for the personnel we have right now, bar maybe 1 or 2 key players. You might be going, well, these are key. Let's just say the edge rushers, for example, we want to, absolutely blitz all night, right? You might want someone that fits that as just an example. But I just think this roster needs so much turnover in it that actually you can build it towards a team you want to create and the system you kind of want to move towards, rather than anything else. I think if we were a good team and you were replacing your coordinators, you might want to fit the personnel you've got. But I think this is about fitting the philosophy Harbaugh wants to bring right now.
It's about fitting. And I'm going to get to Steven here, because Steven's he's a smart guy. Brilliant guy. Great show, Tim. You're the best. Well, that's just to leave it at that.
By the way, have I killed your like count yet?
No, it went up by 1. Love your enthusiasm and passion for our Big Blue. He also says we got to build the trenches, but I would love to watch some good linebacker play again. We missed that. What another word or phrase? Good linebacker play?
We are pushing the boundaries of what is the known universe.
I mean that I love this. What the fuck is a plan? What the fuck is a plan? 2 things. First of all, you get your own show, which is Arsenal Domination, the #1 Arsenal show in the world, and you buy yourself a headset that works.
We've discussed this before.
I know, but it still annoys the shit out of me. All the time that you came on my show before you had your own YouTube channel, it was literally like talking to you in a wind tunnel half the fucking time. Now I'm Mr. Professional, so I'm gonna have myself a headset now that works.
Yeah. Well, there were 2 things. One, I wanted to pretend I was Mike Casper and cosplay at being an NFL coach on the sidelines with my headset. And second, this is work issue because they didn't give us one before, and literally you couldn't hear anything when you were on calls because all you could hear was everyone else's calls. So this is a work issue headset, which is quite nice.
I know, but I'm still not. I love this, Joe. We've always had, I love this one, Timmy. You gonna get Austin Powers on the show? Brought to you by FanDuel. Well,
Draft, baby. Yeah.
I mean, if Liz Hurley is available, I'm all ears.
Big Don has been on this show. I don't know how long. How many years? 4 or 5 years now, Don?
Yeah, something like that.
4 or 5 years. So Big Don is the best at what he does, and that's bringing us to British perspective of the New York Giants, because there's no one else out there that does it any better than Don, especially for Arsenal domination. Make sure you go to that. Big Al Gigante says, I saw Joe Shane with shovels and snowblowers outside Giant facility. His role is expanding. That's what some would say. I mean,
he's good at shoveling stuff, but it wasn't necessarily snow. But it does begin with S.
I'm gonna give you some names, and I want you to tell me keep or get rid of. And these are players that may be under contract. These are players that also may be free agency. But I'm curious now that we know who the defensive coordinator is, Dexter Lawrence.
My view's been for quite a while that you look to trade Dexter Lawrence because, and you were talking about.
Oh, wait a minute. We need to have theme music for it. But go ahead.
Go ahead. I need to stand up.
That's what I have music for you.
How long have you had that planned for? I trade Dexter Lawrence. You were talking about it earlier.
Only like 2 years.
You were talking about it earlier, right? By the time this team gets good, Dexter Lawrence is probably going down the other side. I think if there's a team out there willing to take Dexter Lawrence, you look to trade him just because I think we just need to rebuild, and he doesn't fit the timeline anymore. Not because of his ability. His ability is fine, even if he did have a bit of an off year.
Keyshawn saying the same thing. Trade Dexter. Kayvon Thibodeau.
I'm not sure what the market is for Thibodeau. I think you probably keep him, but I think if you get a good trade offer, you take it.
Now, he is under final year of his contract, only at $12 million, but he's coming off an injury and he's really only had one good season in 4. So, Cordell Flott.
Oh, isn't he the future of the organization? That's what I heard.
He's an unrestricted free agent right now.
I mean, bye.
Okay, so you would probably move on. Bobby Okereke.
I mean, the Bobby Okereke, I think you keep. I mean, the problem is you can't get rid of everybody because you then need to find a replacement for him. What you could do, of course, is find cheap replacements for them just to build out your roster to the right numbers and accept you're going to be a bit rubbish. I think that would be perfectly acceptable because I think this just needs quite a substantive rebuild. But Bobby Okereke, I think you still need players like him that have experience around if you're going to go down that route to help develop your young players. And I think Bobby Okereke can do that. So I keep him. And he's also a decent player as well, but he's not brilliant, but he's decent.
He's decent. And that's a, it's funny. Watch this. That was a brilliant way to put it. But he is decent. And I do think that if you look at from the perspective of that, and I've said it before, you also have to look at the value of the savings. What you say, like $7 million in cap space. You're
just going to spend it on a new player in that position, right?
Is there a player that is going to come in as a starting off the ball linebacker at $6 million? That's better than Bobby Okereke.
I can't see where you get it from. And if you do something unusual like draft one, then again, you want someone around that can sort of help learn from him, and Bobby Okereke is that.
Dane Belton.
Who?
Good. You didn't get one. Good. Last one I'm going to bring up because I was supposed to go outside and shovel snow at 1 o'clock. Wandale Robinson, the mighty Wandale.
I mean, again, I don't know where your market is for him, right? I mean, if he's out, is he out of contract now? Is he?
Yes, Wandale Robinson. Wandale Robinson is a free agent.
In that case, look, I don't think he's pulled up any trees. I'm not looking to retain him. If you can get him at real cheap value, then
what would be in your mind? What would be really cheap value?
I mean, I don't know. You've got to be, he's got to be really cheap, like $3 million. I don't think he's coming back for that. So I think
he wants
exactly. I mean, but that's, I don't rate him highly at all. Is my point, right?
Okay. That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, I mean, $3 million is, as you say, too cheap for that. But I don't rate him at all. But if you're looking to fill out your roster, and you can get him real cheap, then do that. I mean, you're not getting $3 million because it's far too cheap. But my point is, I don't rate him, but he fills out your roster if you get a very decent contract. But otherwise, you don't. You just let him hit the market and see what happens.
That's what I'm looking at. Trade Russell, sign Cole McDaniel, just so I can have fun with his name. Cole McDaniel had a farm. Yeah. I like Jake. I like Jerry. I like Jake. I used to have allowed myself to introduce myself, but I guess I got rid of it. That's the worst part, Dom. I'm gonna stay one more year, and I made all these promises, and I've kept 2 of them. I've stayed. I've ate an Uncrustable, and my third one was I was going to actually label the soundboard. Which one do you think is less going to happen?
Well, I don't want to know what Uncrustable is, but you seem to be talking about that earlier, so that one was done.
Well, Joe,
and you've been promising to do the soundboard for years, so I'm going to go with that one not being done.
Well, I ate the Uncrustable yesterday. Uncrustable is basically a rich people peanut butter and jelly sandwich that is with no crust, and Joe Shane eats them every day. So
yeah, I mean, he's done wonders for him so far.
I know, but where's allow myself to introduce myself?
Maybe that's why he was shoveling snow, because he dropped it. He was trying to find it again.
Yeah, he could have dropped his Uncrustable. How is the weather over in the UK?
Wet. Case of Paris.
That's what she said.
I'm sorry.
Not for a long time. I don't hear that.
Oh my goodness gracious. What does Keyshawn say? Keyshawn just saying bye. I love it. I love the fact that he's just saying bye to everything now. Oh, we got Joe Ferry's dropping in there. We got Mr. Bruce saying 300,000. Yeah, he's not taking that. Dom, I gotta close out.
That's below league minimum contract.
But I don't. Yeah,
and we're probably still overpaying.
A league minimum for his term of service would be about 1.1 million.
I was going to say about the 1 million mark.
Yeah. So that's definitely not going to happen. But evidently, I got screwed, and the likes didn't fall off when Dom came in. I've tried everything not to do the stream tomorrow, but I am going to do a stream tomorrow. It is an epic stream. It's a Jackson Dart epic stream. So strap in, kiddies, because this one could get bumpy. I don't know.
Right. I was told that he's the next great thing.
No, we are literally going to talk about that tomorrow.
By the way, I want to know if Keyshawn is a relative of Robert. Check out your English history for Robert the Bruce.
Oh, maybe he is.
He led the Scottish Army against Edward Longshanks. So there you
go. Oh, Dom talks more about things like that. We already lost 2 people.
There you go. I'll keep going.
Dom, you got any final thoughts so we close the show out?
No, I mean, good coach hires so far. I mean, we don't know how they're going to work out, but, it's nice to have something positive, right? for once.
It really is. And like I said, everyone tells me how negative we are all the time, but what have we had to be positive about in 4 years?
Yeah, exactly. And, but because this is a yin and yang type of show, and, being from Britain, and we have the BBC and we like balance. Why did the Pats have to win yesterday? Because Champs is unbearable.
Oh, I can't stand. Oh my God, I forgot about King of the Idiots. I forgot about that. He's got to be ecstatic. I forgot. He's got to be ecstatic.
He is. He's like, he did not see this coming. He said, when you got a quarterback like Drake May, you got a chance. But he's obviously, he's out. But he wasn't expecting this. He's absolutely delighted.
Steve, I actually talked about taking Casey Concepcion. I actually talked about taking him at wide receiver, and maybe toward the 2nd or 3rd round, or maybe a little later. I think he would actually be a good counterpart to Wandale. Yeah, got me saying to Malik Neighbors. Who is the greatest backup quarterback in history? Steve DeBerg? No, Jeff Hostetler.
I'm more worried about this KC Concepcion guy. He sounds like he's some kind of mafia don from Chicago.
Concepcion, he is
Concepcion. Sorry, yeah,
that's Spanish.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know Spanish, but I meant he obviously wasn't a mafia don from Chicago.
We're gonna re-sign Flott, says Mr. Les. What's up, my brother?
Well, there's another way of looking at that. That could just say resign Flott, as in just
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. And he's gonna trade Dexter and Tibbs. I like that. Bring Bobby back. So I think we're all on the assignment about bringing Bobby back. Dahmer, let's go. Positive Dom in the building, says Big El Gigante.
Yeah, but also with my usual hint of sarcasm.
With his usual flair. There's the crew hanging out. We got
Look how
Big
tall
L.
I look.
I know you're so. We got Big L. The
Lovely cropping of the photo.
Well, you will. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. Dom saying, I was once this big. I'm sorry. No, we got all these things. We're a professional show here, Dom. We're on the Believe Network, FanDuel. Got all these. We're professional. Don't you know
we've got something to believe about now. We got Harbaugh.
That's true. We got something nice to talk about now that we got Harbaugh. All right, Big Don. I gotta check out. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna close the show out, but I want to talk to you for a second. But everyone, tomorrow, 11. I don't know. It's either gonna be 11 or 3. I'll tell you. I'll post it. But big stream tomorrow. Make sure you stay tuned for that. I want to thank Dom from Arsenal Domination coming on and giving us all the insight from the UK in regards to the Giant perspective. Make sure you go to Arsenal Domination. So subscribe, set the notifications for Dom. Also subscribe, set the notifications for me. Go to the Believe Network. Don't forget the mighty FanDuel. We got another new sponsor coming up. Boy, this is giving me a fucking headache. But we got another one coming up, so we're going to enjoy that because, like I said, we do enjoy the mighty FanDuel here, though. I do enjoy, and I'm going to give you, Dom. I was doing these parlay bets where you do all these different things, and
is that what we call a bet builder? Yeah, X, Y, and Z will have. Yeah.
We call it a parlay here. And they always say you don't do more than the 4-leg parlay, but I'm building one right now. It's like an 8-leg parlay, and if I bet $150, I win like 298,000.
Wow.
So
I mean,
let's hope we hit that because then there'll be some big changes on the show. I'll spend some money.
Yeah, I mean, we call a parlay what happens historically when we go to fight the French. They ask for a parlay very quickly.
Well, and also pirates call for a parlay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, world history. DeBerg lost his job 3 times. Yeah, I don't. Whatever. I love you, Coach T, but I don't care about Steve DeBerg. I like El DeBarge in the rhythm of the night, but not Steve DeBerg. All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see everyone tomorrow. It's either going to be 11 or 3. Make sure you stay tuned for that. This is Tim. This is also with Dom from Russell's Domination, and we are